Hey YouTube. Hey, it's taking it outside today. It's so beautiful. So I thought I'd hit the park, and my dog is right next to me. So that's awesome. Yeah, I haven't been on for a few weeks, as some of you have noticed and reached out to me, just seeing if I'm okay, and that's very kind. Thank you for thinking of me. And then also being my 10-year anniversary out of the religion, just made me kind of think about things, and I kind of put just living truth on hold for a little bit, and then just work, right? So, but I feel like I'm, coming back into, speaking more online about JW stuff, and getting back into the swing. So yay. So yeah, I actually wanted to talk about the like why it took me, because this is one thing that kind of bugged me, because I'm like, I feel like I'm a reasonably intelligent person, so why did it take me 35 years of my life to wake up and get out of it, right? Like, that bothers me, because now I'm like so on, like I've taken such a massive paradigm shift in my life and my belief systems, and so for me to think that I've spent that much time in a cult, in a religion that is just so crazy, and I'm not, so it bothers me that I was able to be that clouded for that long. And so I've taken some time to really think about that, because, and I've been thinking about it for a while, but I'm like, well, was I ever like, was I ever like waking up? Like, were there flags and I just didn't see them, or I just chose to ignore them? Like, what was going on with me, right? Like, why? It bugs me, because like I said, I feel like I'm a reasonably intelligent person, and yet, how did it just like bamboozle me for so long, right? So I have to go and collect my dog, but I'll take you with me. So I was thinking about all this, and I'm like, well, yeah, there were flags. Rio, come this way. Come here. I gotta bring him back. He's blind, so he's like, he kind of does he smells around, and kind of his nose takes him away. Just stay here. Okay, sorry about that. So yes, so back to like these flags, and I was like, well, yeah, like when I got married, for one thing, when I got married, if you've seen my other videos, I got disfellowshipped shortly after, right? And so at that point, I was like, I don't want to go back to the meetings. I was like, I'm not going back. It's not a loving organization. Like, my friends, like I can't talk to my family. I'm 18 years old, and this is how your friends and your family treat you. Like, this organization is horrible, right? So that was when I was 18, but I was married, and my husband was very much into wanting to make it happen as a religion, so or as a way of life, and he really wanted to get baptized. He wanted to become a ministerial servant and all these kind of stuff. So and that's, quite frankly, is all I've known, is being a Jehovah's Witness, right? So just stay over here, bud. So with that, I was like, well, okay, it's not all on me. I mean, I was indoctrinated with the Jehovah's Witness ever since I was like right from birth. Like, I was born into it. I'm third generation, so you grow up believing in Jehovah, in all the doctrines and all the teachings and all the control tactics that the religion has. So I was like, okay, I shouldn't be so hard on myself, because this happens to a lot of people, and there were some other, and so yeah, so when I got married, I was like, no, I'm not going, but he kept encouraging me, like my husband kept encouraging me, like, yes, this is right, this is, we just got to, pray and take it to Jehovah and all this kind of stuff, and so I did, and I knew that if I wanted to talk to my friends and family again, I had to, you know, get back on track and get to the meetings and stuff. So I did. So yeah, so there's that. So then I get reinstated, and you know, life goes on. 17 more years of being in the religion. So yeah, so then, I mean, when you're in it as well, so as a Jehovah's Witness, when you're in it, your community is such a comfort, right? Like you're a close-knit community, and I had some very good friends in it. Like, and we hung out all the time. You know, we go in service all the time. We go boating. We go on vacations together. Like, I had some close friends. Like, you know, one of my best friends who I miss dearly, but now, like, we're not. I don't believe in it, and she's a Jehovah's Witness, and you know, we've lost touch now, as you do when you fall away or you leave the religion cult. So as that happened, so yeah, so you stay close to the religion because of the community, the comfort of it. You're constantly thinking that, oh, look it, he's photobombed me. Hey, Rio. There he is. He's so awesome. Hey, bud. Sorry. So yeah, there's the comfort of it, right? And then also having the comfort of knowing there's going to be a better life. Like, you're constantly being told that there's going to be the paradise on earth, this is Satan's world. So you have this whole this mindset that things are going to be better, and you just got to wait for Jehovah's time. Like all these things that they're all feel goods, and then the people that you've lost in death, then you're also going to see them, right, in the resurrection. So yeah, so I guess, you know, and I'm just sharing this, thinking out loud, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this too, and how you feel, you know, especially if you've been indoctrinated from birth or from a young age, and as you've waken up, if you're awake now, you know, what woke you up? Because as I've shared before, like the thing that woke me up was obviously like when I found out my husband was cheating on me, and leaving him, and then I stopped going to meetings, and that's when I felt a major vacancy of love, brotherly love, that they say they have in the organization. So when I felt that, I was like, whoa, what happened? Because I didn't do anything wrong, but there was a major assumption from everyone that I had because I had left him, right? So that woke me up, to understand that the love that they profess to have isn't actually an unconditional love. It's not a true love, you know. So that woke me up. But prior to that, you know, I was thinking about what other things, were there other little flags that I just chose to ignore, right? And there were. I mean, there are things that bothered me a lot, such as like gender equality, the lack of, you know, me asking like, why can't women do the talks? Like, why can't sisters do the talks? Like, they're more than qualified, and a lot of them are writing the talks anyways for the brothers, for the husbands. So, oh no, you know, like that Jehovah has us in our own place, in our own you know, we all have our own jobs, kind of thing, right? And he cherishes us, and da da da, right? So you just kind of sit back. You're like, meh, you know what? I just so you kind of put up with it, right? The another thing, I remember this one time in service, like I was, you know, we're in door to door, and I think I was with the circuit overseer's wife, and we go to this door, and this fellow, she was reading a scripture about paradise, and wouldn't it be nice to live in a paradise, and da da da, all this, you know, that whole spiel. of reading the scripture and making people think about how bad this earth is, right? And how much better it'll be in paradise once, Satan's wiped out and all the bad people are wiped away and all that stuff. Anyways, what he said to her, because he was very nice, he was very kind, and he was also very well read. You could tell, like, and he even said, like, he reads a lot, and you could tell, like, he looked at a lot of different belief systems and looked at a lot of different stuff. Anyways, what he said, he goes, well, what if, he goes, what I believe is that we live in paradise right now. We've already gone through Armageddon, and this is paradise. And when he said that, and he goes, well, what do you think of that? And I don't remember what she said, but I know my wheels were spinning, because I was like, I've never heard anybody saying that at that point. So I was thinking, what? Like, I remember thinking that. I did talk to my husband at the time about that too, where I'm like, can you believe he said that? Like, it just kind of, there was a spark, there was a light that went off. So it was kind of interesting to me at that time, because I was very much, I think I was even pioneering that month. And but it was one of those things that people say to you that kind of make you think differently, right? And I'm glad he did, and I'm glad he said it in a nice way and wasn't judgmental on me or us coming to his door. So yeah, for any of you out there that are have never been around Jehovah's Witness, or just kind of peeking in, and if Jehovah's Witnesses come to your door, I know that I sure appreciated when people were kind to me, because it's not easy doing that job, and just realizing that it's a requirement, it's an obligation as a Jehovah's Witness. So going to someone's door, and when they're actually kind, anyways, it made an impact on me, because if he had said it very condescendingly, as some people come across when you go to their doors or whatever, like when I used to do that, if they come across that way, it would have shut it down. I would never have even given it a second thought. I would have thought, oh wow, he's mean, or he's nasty. He's obviously in Satan's world, so good on him. Anyway, so now I'm getting some sun in my face. All right. The other thing I wanted to share was also, I'm just sharing some things that kind of woke me up a little bit here and there, but didn't completely wake me up until I, had a massive shift in my life scenario. But anyways, it was of the elders, like, controlling. And one of the controls I remember was around fashion, and it was actually my husband. At that time, there was shirt, like men's shirts. They didn't have a collar, like there was, and so there was this fashion for a short period in the 90s, I think, where you had like these short little collars. Anyways, I can't remember what they're called, but the no collar shirts or whatever, button-ups. And he wore it a couple times to the meetings, and he got taken aside by one of the elders and saying, like, that is not a proper shirt. So that was kind of weird. And then also when there was a suit style, that the suit jacket was a bit shorter, so it kind of went above, or I think it went above the butt. And so yeah, an elder again took him aside and said, that's not an appropriate suit to be wearing to the meetings, right? So anyways, I thought that was so weird. And then the whole, of course, there was constantly reprimands and talks about like women's dress and women's clothing, and how we should have be modest in dress and modest in attire and hairstyles and makeup and jewelry and you name it. So that whole thing always felt a little bit like intrusive as to your own personality. So that didn't fully wake me up, of course, because it's like, well, you know, they're human and they're just being controlling men, and you know, we'll get through that, and it's not what Jehovah, you know, it's not Jehovah. So anyways, those were some of the things that sort of just like, stuck in my mind, that I kind of drug out for this video. um, but yeah, so then back to the whole, why did it take me 35 years? Like, that bothers me, that, you know, being somebody who, well, now I am. I mean, I guess the other part of it is that you aren't allowed to read other stuff. So I was being completely obedient to the organization and thinking it's Jehovah. Being completely obedient to the organization and Jehovah, that you don't look at apostate literature, you don't look at apostate videos for sure. You don't read books that are on other religions, you don't read books that are on the occult, you don't read books about anything other than really what they kind of allow you to, right? So, and most of the reading comes from the organization. I mean, I do know that I've read a lot of novels, but you always are careful as to the content prior to getting into them. So yeah, I was an obedient Jehovah's Witness for sure. And I guess that's also why it took me so long to wake up too, because I was just like obedient. So yeah, I'm not gonna kick myself around about it, because I'm awake now, and I'm really happy that I am awake, and it's, you know, I'm at a, you know, prime of my life where now I can you know, help others and live my life fully without the thumb of the organization on me and controlling me. So yeah, so I guess like being born into it, having your family and friends who, you know, you have such a comfort zone around you that whole time, not being able to do research, not really thinking, not really being allowed to think. And the Jehovah's Witness organization, they make it so easy to not think. Like, because they put so much literature in front of you. Their requirements to be reading the Bible and reading the Watchtower and the Awake, and how much literature and how much studying and all the meetings and the preparation for the service and like the door-to-door ministry. There's so much time involved in all of that and preparation for it all. So, you know, they make it very easy to not even have time to do any research and even think about doing any research outside of the organization. So yeah, so if you're like me and you've woken up and you're like kicking yourself because you're like, what took me so long? Be kind to yourself. And it's taken me a while to be kind to me, to myself, and not do some the negative self-talk as to what is wrong with like what took me forever, because when it's a cult, as it is, it's very controlling, so it's not our fault having been born into it. If you are like me, having born into it, having that whole, having that indoctrinated in you at such a young age. Anyways, be kind to yourself. I guess that's my message. I love that there's this community that's online, and we're able to actually have this type of community where it's supportive. We can share. We might not know each other intimately, although this is kind of an intimate share, obviously. But yeah, it's kind of nice, especially because all you who are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, you understand in a way that people who have never been around it before would understand what happens when you leave, when you waking up, if you're disfellowshipped, and all these other things around it. So I am grateful for each and every one of you that is an ex-Jehovah's Witness and a friend who is supportive of this type of community and being involved in a positive community that I feel that this can be and should be. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'll just say goodbye Rio. Say he's awesome. All right, have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.